There's four main messages that I want to talk to you about today. And they come off of two distinctly different experiences and conversations I've had with rookie wholesalers over the course of the last 2 weeks. So one gentleman that I'm working with in private practice is a newer wholesaler, less than 6 months of experience, and he's suffering a bit of a crisis of confidence. He's in his head a lot, and he's really analyzing every granular nuance of his practice, which can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. In his case, he's really getting in his head, and getting in his head has become a dangerous place to be. And as a result, getting out of the gate for him and his wholesaling practice is proving a little bit more difficult. On the other hand, I have a private client who is less than 6 months in the field, and he's crushing it. And he's really focusing on the things that need to be done in order for him to set up his practice in the right way, using so much of the Wholesaler Masterminds methodology. So I was talking to Wholesaler B about Wholesaler A, and these are some of the things he mentioned, and I thought I'd bring them to you because they're so true. Number one was, he mentioned that Wholesaler A, the gentleman that's spending a lot of time in his head, he needs to relax. And boy, I agree with that. You know, when you're brand new and you're just coming out of the gate and you want to impress your boss and you want to prove that the firm made the right decision, you can really get wound up. And if you get wound up too tight, your performance starts to suffer. So relax. Not relax, become complacent, relax. But just relax. You know, athletes say, let the game come to you. Well, I'm not sure if it goes quite that far, but just know that you're doing all the right things. So just relax, knowing that you're doing the right things, and then know that your growth is going to change exponentially, month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year. You know, I had an interesting phenomenon when I was a wholesaler. When I first started out, I remember distinctly driving my Nissan Maxima 6 months into the job, and I remember looking in the rearview mirror and saying to myself, Rob, how is it possible that you thought you knew what you were doing at day 90 versus today, 6 months in? And then I had that same discussion with myself at 12 months, thinking, Rob, how could you have thought you knew what you were doing at 6 months now that you're here at year one? Wholesalers, what I want to tell you is you should experience this at 6 months, at 1 year, at 18 months, 2 years, 5 years, if you're growing. I got a good friend that says, if you're not growing, you're molding. So you got to make sure that you're growing and allow yourself to know that this whole phenomenon of growth, feeling like you didn't know anything 6 months ago versus what you know today, that's going to continue. And this feeling of maybe being out of sorts, not having your whole head and hands around everything, boy, that's going to continue. It's a feeling that I'd argue you have to live with for the entirety of your wholesaling career because we juggle so many things. So that was one bit of insight that Wholesaler B gave to Wholesaler A. Relax. I add this notion of exponential growth over time. And then there's this notion of working your process. What separates the masterclass wholesaler from the wholesaler bobbing in the sea of sameness? Process and branding. Process. Wholesaler B said he sticks to his knitting on his process. His calendar is tight. He understands his rotations. His appointments always lead with value, and it's through that value that he earns the right to ask for product. He does his advisor reconnaissance, so he's able to blow the hair back on the advisor. The advisor becomes impressed with all of the knowledge that the advisor has or the wholesaler has about their practice. He asks great questions through the 76 great questions. He uses agendas. He trial closes. He closes. He understands how to use the follow-up process. He is committed to the process. The last thing is always, always, always remember, and please don't ever forget, everything you do, filter it through the, was it memorable? Was it memorable? Or am I simply a member of the dreadful sea of sameness. Figure out if you're taking the right action steps to make it memorable. And by the way, the bar of memorability has been set so gosh darn low. Let me give you two ways to increase your MQ, your memorability quotient. Operate with a high degree of urgency, always. Your competitor thinks that end of day return phone call is expeditious. I say it's not urgent enough in this time where instantaneous communication is at our fingertips. So one is operate with the highest degree of urgency humanly possible. The other one is do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Yep. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. When I interviewed the millionaire wholesalers last summer, it came loud and clear, came through loud and clear. Doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it has a super high impact. Why? Because so few people do it today. The bar has been set that low. And remember, you got two dials, the what you say you're going to do and the when you say you're going to do it. Take both of those seriously and deliver on them consistently, and you will separate yourself from the sea of sameness.